Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sweeney Show, Business and Law Podcast. I'm David Sweeney, and joining me here today is Sinead Glennon of Transcribe.ie. Sinead, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for having me on the show this morning.
Thank you very much for making the time. So I think we met each other online maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and we started chatting. And I've then since used your services. So obviously, solicitors' offices are very busy. We have typing pools, we have, deadlines, we have court documents to prepare, and you provide a service that kind of solves those problems for solicitors.
Yeah, so I would say we're 13 years now. 2008 was when I set up this business, and there was a need then, but there's even more so a need now for outsourcing the typing, because I suppose in a legal office, in every office, nothing ever stays the same. So change is constant, and now more than ever, is solicitors, I suppose, staffing issues, secretaries off, unforeseen circumstances, or the other big thing is reevaluating how you work. So you might have a secretary there, but you might find that you can put her to better use or him to better use doing other things, dealing with land registry, probate office, briefing counsel, attending in court, all that sort of stuff. So therefore, getting the typing, that part of her day outsourced makes it the office runs much smoother.
And do you think there's been a mindset change in solicitors from, say, when you started out 13 years ago, where technology, even though computers and Microsoft was all, an email was still very effective, things have moved on. I think there's been a mind shift change in solicitors, one, to embrace technology, but two, to outsource.
Absolutely, 100%. When I started first, I wasn't online. Nobody was online. And I used to drive around the courthouses and call into solicitors' offices. But I found initially when I started calling into solicitors' offices, it wasn't the best way for me, because I would get a bit of kickback from secretarial staff because they think you're going to take my job. They saw it. So I used to call to courthouses. And yes, no, you get a little bit of great idea. I'm not sure it's for me. Barristers embraced us from day one because they operate on their own, so they knew what it was. Solicitors, on the other hand, were a little slower, but now that's 100% change. I can ring a solicitor's office and talk to the secretary. They get what we do straight away. So not only has the practitioner's mindset changed, the staff as well, because they're under pressure and they see, yes, oh, perfect, you can help me. I'm off next week. Will you take the typing over for the week? Great. There's going to be no backlog when I come back.
Yeah.
The post will be kept up to speed. The practitioner will be happy, and the system will just flow for the week while I'm away. And you'll generally find they'll keep using it then, because they'll dip in and out more of the service because things get busy and people are under pressure. And embracing technology that's come a long way, because back in the day, I don't know, do you remember, Dave, but when I started doing this, they were using the old these old fashioned tapes. Yeah, the 15-minute tapes. Yeah. I haven't seen them in years.
I would probably say there's probably some practice still using tapes. I'd say there's one or two.
Yeah, and they've even moved on from the handheld dictaphone. It's kind of moved on now. These apps on phones and all this. So it's also changed so much. Yeah. And people, I suppose, I think the people are expecting of you guys a quicker turnaround. Yeah. So therefore, you're under pressure. So your staff are under pressure. So outsourcing it has become a thing, and not only in what I do, but in a lot of like, you outsource your accounts. Phone answering is another big one now. Outsource the phone answering, and it streamlines the day. I outsource my phones, and it streamlines the day.
Yeah, I do, like on just on the phone answering. There's loads we can talk about here now today, but just on a side note on the phone answering, I've tried it, and I think it certainly fulfills a need, but I don't think it's perfect. I think, well, for me in a small office, we have 6 employees here in Cork, and we have 2 satellite offices in Limerick and Dublin, that if someone rings our office, I feel the client needs that information, that the knowledge of the file, that if you outsource your calls, it's really a messaging service. Do you know what I mean? And I find sometimes that if we get the message back in, we have to ring back the client, and it's nearly a cold call again back to the client because the information hasn't come back correctly to us because the person who's answered the phone is not a legal secretary, doesn't have any knowledge,
Or doesn't have the files in front of them.
Yeah.
but I suppose it depends. Like what I think
it certainly does
useful
have a need.
yeah,
There is a use
if
for
you
it.
have if you're in court for the day and you haven't got anyone on your phone, perfect. And then you can kind of manage expectations a bit better that way. But
and do you have is there a kind of a typical type of office that you work with?
Oh, 3 types. It's simple. We have the small sole practitioner who'll be herself or himself on their own. They may or may not have a secretary. And they, like, some of them will have, there's one particular guy I'm thinking, he's worked for years. I had secretary leaving. He is now heading towards retirement. This service is perfect for him because he doesn't have to hire again. He sends out his letters every day to us and it works. Then you'll have the medium-sized firms where they will send out the daily correspondence, and then the large firms where we will get the big long memos, attendances, where they're sending them out because it's not efficient to run that in-house. So they'll send them out to us.
And we've outsourced a lot of stuff like that too as well. Yeah, it's great when you have like big document who need typed out or whatever.
It's if you go in, if you do a big long attendance, send it out. And then the medium-sized firms, they will generally work it with the secretary in-house, and she'll decide what's going out.
And in your experience from when you started to now, do you, like a lot of solicitors I find are under pressure. There's a lot of stress in the industry. Do you think that pressure has increased on solicitors now? Do you think, like, what's happening? I know you're kind of have the you're kind of an outsider looking in. Do you think solicitors are under pressure now? Are they able to manage their workload? Or
I think everybody is. I think people are more demanding, and we need to stand back. All of us need to stand back and just watch, because it's not a nice space. We're all under pressure. Yeah, I would say there's that old school solicitor. We don't see it anymore, really. Because the pressure that the younger ones or solicitors coming through now are under is huge, to turn things around. So yes, I do see it a lot more pressure. But people are handling it, I think, a little. We're all learning how to handle it because we've all been immersed into this, so we're learning how to cope. No more than you saying 4-day week. You have to do it because you have to mind yourself. If you don't mind yourself, the show doesn't go on. So
how have you adapted in the last few years, or how does it work in your industry with solicitors with data protection and GDPR and all that?
So we have, for us, I have set up, like, we're fully GDPR compliant, so I hire a GDPR consultant to the business and a cyber security consultant, and then I have my Xenotech, my tech people in behind me. So we have to, obviously, everybody who works for us, computers are fully encrypted. They work on computers owned by the company. We're registered to the Data Protection Committee, but everything is MFA, that multi-factor authentication, where you have to log in. You have to log in and get the PIN on the phone and all the rest. And then I suppose our biggest defense is deletion. And this is where we delete. We don't hold anything. So we get work today, 2 days later, that's not on our system. So come back looking for it. It's not there, really. And that's the biggest defense for us. And it protects the customer as well.
How did you cope during COVID? How did you, like, was there a reduction in workload, or was it the same? Or?
No, we got very busy. COVID increased because obviously offices had to reevaluate again, and you had secretaries or people going home to families who couldn't work from home. So our workload increased over COVID, which was good, and we kept going. We were able to keep going. We had the resources to keep going. So it was really, COVID was good for us. It wasn't good for the world. Sorry, it wasn't good, but it was good from a business sense. And I think the mindset towards outsourcing in general changed. The workplace changed with COVID, so everybody had to readapt. So it was.
But even the COVID, and obviously Zoom became a huge thing, and video calls, and I talked to a couple of solicitors, and they said they've been using Zoom for years, and it just never dawned on me to properly have a client consultation on Zoom. And it just opens up so much more opportunities, saves travel time, everything.
Yeah, Zoom is great. Time, because it is all about time. When you're talking about how busy you are, it's time. So if you have to travel to Dublin, well, do the meeting on Zoom. It is much easier. It's quicker, it's efficient. Obviously, you like the face-to-face. I like the face-to-face.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's important for what I do that the face-to-face is there, and back into the courthouses again. But that's the other thing, Dave, I've noticed. I met you through LinkedIn. LinkedIn, when I went out 13 years ago, solicitors and barristers, the legal profession, social media was a no-go. I wasn't on it anyway. That's where now everybody is on social media. So the world has changed, definitely. And barristers are all in there on LinkedIn.
How have you coped over the last, say, 12, 13 years in business? Like, how do you deal personally with highs and lows and pressure and, different circumstances?
Pressure and highs and lows and the juggle that everybody does. Well, I set up 13 years ago with a clear, I knew what I could offer. I knew I was good at typing. I knew that I could offer this service. And the reason I set up was because there was nobody in Ireland offering this service. I spotted a company in the UK coming in here and getting the work from Irish solicitors. And I thought, I can do that.
Yeah.
So I started out on my own. And then Margaret, who you probably have met, joined me. And we ploughed along together for a few years. We kept it small at the time because we both had small families. So we managed. And then about 4 years ago, I said, right, this is an opportunity here. Let's really grasp it. And that's where we went for growth. The highs have been great. I mean, you get lots of highs in business, and it's great when this is great for me because you see what I do adds benefit. Enterprise Ireland endorsed us last year. The All Ireland Business All-Stars have endorsed us. Solicitors talk to each other. That's a high.
Yeah.
That's great when I get a phone call to say, Dave Sweeney told me, brilliant. The lows are the challenges, which we all have. Staffing is a big challenge for everybody at the minute. Just the lows are they're numerous. They're there, but I think it's how you deal with them.
Yeah.
And I try to learn from lows rather than wallow in it. We have to just go, okay, face the problem, deal with it,
and
we learned from that.
When you're going through a tricky period or demanding period, like where do you get inspiration from, or where do you draw that from? Motivation.
I just keep going.
Yeah.
Don't believe in stopping and dwelling on it. I try not to. I'm going to show you something. My daughter, when we were when Enterprise Ireland spoke to us and backed us, they asked me to speak at a talk, and my daughter arrived home from school with this little picture. There is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. That's it there, right? She drew it. I stuck it up on LinkedIn. But she arrived in the door with that little thing. The teacher had done it with them in school, and she said to me, and I thought, she must watch me. She said, "Mommy, this will be a good one for the ladies that you're talking to." And I thought, yeah, it is. And that's when you have the lows, you realize it is small steps.
Yeah.
It's not a quick book. It's small steps.
Yeah.
And there's no elevator to anything.
No. Everything is hard work, isn't it?
It is hard work, yeah. And hard work and perseverance and persistence, and you will get there.
Yeah. Is there any individuals you look up to in business, or?
So I have two. One is a bit off the scale. The other is Fergal Quinn.
Okay.
So when I was small, I always knew I wanted to own my own business. I thought I was going to own a shop, and I used to surround my house with cash registers and all the rest. But I'd go shopping with my mother in Coolock to Super Quinn, and he was there, always on the front line, always serving the customer. And I actually, unbeknownst to myself, was watching him. And he's always sat with me in my head, and that's where I bring customer service to our business. I think it's front and center, accuracy, efficiency.
But he was just he left a huge legacy. He was such a visionary. Like, you think of Super Quinn and the service and everything like that. All like lots of supermarkets, like that whole industry changed nearly because of Fergal Quinn, because he grew what he did and from what he grew it out of. I have his autobiography, and I actually sat beside the man at a rugby match many years ago, and I just sent him an email just to say, look, I really enjoyed meeting you and it was a pleasure. And he sent me back his biography signed with a note on it to say I was great company at rugby matches. I met himself and his wife.
He was all about the customer.
Yeah.
And that's where I got it from, because you can have as much technology as you want, but if people can't speak to you, it's really difficult to do business.
Yeah, sure.
And he was all about the customer, and I learned that through him. He's the first one, but the second one is a bit, as I say, off. When we went into lockdown, my kids used to do the Joe Wicks videos, and I was in my head thinking, how do I promote my business to people? How do I get it out there? And I just was watching them doing his exercises, and he was coming up with the same thing over and over. And if you watch him today, he's still saying the same thing: get out, get active. You'll benefit. And I thought, it's simple. You just get a tagline. and you run with it. Or I keep saying to solicitors, our service benefits you. Our service benefits you. Creates a positive impact, creates efficiencies. So to keep the message simple, that's what I learned from him, and he's very successful with his simple message. So he would inspire me in a lot of ways, and his positivity as well. He's very upbeat, and his message is simple. So I learned the simple way from him.
But he probably, isn't that you just grasp an opportunity with timing, and be prepared. Like he obviously is passionate about what he does, and COVID happened and just was able to pivot online, and he just exploded, didn't he? Like everybody knew about Joe Wicks during COVID.
Oh yeah, totally. But his message is so simple, and everyone can apply it. It's so simple, and I felt our message is very simple as well. And I feel like I watched a video on him then. He put out something online, and it was about he's 10 years or 12 years at this, but it's just in COVID it exploded for him. And so his point was you keep at it, you keep going.
10 years to become an overnight success, isn't that what this is?
Yes, 10 years, So, and the other thing was the Going for Growth program, which was in with Enterprise Ireland. We got onto that last year, so that was a good thing for us. Yeah.
So what's next for Transcribe?
So I was saying to you, we have an app coming out.
Wow.
Super simple, easy, simple app. I'm going to be promoting it soon. It's going to be on Apple and for the Android and the iPhone. And the simplicity of this is, and it is so simple. Dave Sweeney goes into court, but he has to take memos or he has to do letters, and he needs to get it off and typed. He talks into the phone, presses send, into our app, presses send, and it's straight into us. We type up, and you have it back in your office that evening.
Wow.
So that's really exciting. It's taken me a year to get there, but I'm here. And hopefully over the next few weeks we're ready to roll with it. Yeah,
and is that something, you think the app will make a solicitor's life easier? Do you think there's a need for it? Is that certainly because everyone's on their phone now?
Everyone's on their phone. If you watch what's going on, everyone's on their phone. And then if they use other apps, they're saying to me, how do I get this over to you? So then there's time where they're trying to get the stuff from one app over to us onto our server. This is straight into our server. So it's something I saw a need for. I definitely saw a need for, and I was looking at people coming out as well, how they will operate going forward. Newly qualifieds, they get this. So
huge for barristers as well, isn't it, to have that?
Yes, perfect.
Really good for a barrister. It's quite an agile profession. You're nearly a one-man show or one-lady show, and you're kind of moving from court to court, and that office time that you get is probably narrowed down now as the court period just opens up again between now and the end of the year.
Totally. For them at work where they want to take their memos, sometimes they have to sit back and think about things and then go with the dictation. But yes, definitely on the move. It's perfect for people on the move.
Yeah. And is your business like, what is it, 50-50 barrister solicitor, or is it just?
Oh no, we set up with the legal people in mind, because that's what was my background, and it still is like 80%.
Okay.
But we work then for the HSC. We'd work for academics, engineers, people as well who'd be around the legal profession, vocational consultants, engineers, nursing consultants, all those type of professions we work for as well. So it's not just, but it is mainly because that is really and doctors too. We have a medical section run by Angela. She's fantastic, and she looks after the doctors that work with us. So
brilliant. Well, Sinead, thank you so much for your time. It's been fantastic to chat to you. I sincerely wish you all the very best for the future, and we'll keep an eye out for the app. If people want to reach out to you and contact you, what's the best way, or what's the information to get you?
It's www.transcribe.ie or 091 638 580.
Perfect. Okay, listen, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Best of luck to you.
Have a nice day. Take care. Bye, Jake. Bye.